Yo, what's up guys, Bromadize here. Should you get the 12th gen CPUs? At first, let's talk about the issues with the 12th gen CPUs. The power consumption. The power consumption is very high. These chips are not very power efficient because although Intel says that it's 7 nanometer, but it's 10 nanometers, so the power efficiency is very bad. So you need to have a very good cooler to keep the temps under control. Also, you need to have a good power supply as well. If you wonder that your power supply is capable or not, you can check this website. You will figure out. Also, you need to install Windows 11. Windows 10 will be not very good with the 12th gen CPUs because it's very new CPU, and Microsoft want to force you to install Windows 11, so they will not give Windows 10 the best updates for these CPUs. So pretty much you are forced to install Windows 11, especially, and we'll talk now, this is the third issue, which is some games crash with these CPUs. So because the issue is these games think that the CPU is two different PCs and it's like anti-piracy feature or something. Yeah, it's making issues with the efficiency cores and powerful cores. I will put the list of the games that affected in Windows 11 and Windows 10, and the games that affected only on Windows 10 are very big titles. So as I said, you are pretty much forced to install Windows 11. To be honest, I don't think it's a big deal, but it depends on you. The fourth issue is that if you want to buy this CPU for like compatibility in the future, don't think about it, because especially that you will be forced to get a DDR5 platform anyway, because if you want to go with the DDR5 motherboards, DDR5 is pretty much impossible to get. Like if you want to get 16 gigabytes from eBay, it will cost you $500, so don't even think about it. Also, if you the cheapest DDR5 motherboard is about like $400, so DDR5, forget about it. Maybe like next year we will see a good availability, but for now DDR5 is pretty much impossible to buy. Even it costs $500. It's not even the fastest memory, it's 4800 megahertz. So yeah, you will be forced to run DDR4. And what does that mean? This is very concerning that for the compatibility in the future. I have like zero hopes that the next generation will support the DDR4 platform. So yeah, the compatibility is not the best thing. Even if you went with the DDR5 platform, Intel will probably like support this socket for like maybe 2 to 3 generations. Now, you are one of these three peoples. One, you have an AM4 platform. Also, this split to two sections. First, you have an AM4 platform, but it does not support the 5000 series, or the VRM is not capable of running, let's say, the Ryzen 9 5900X. The second section, you have an AM4 platform and it's capable of running the 5000 series without any issues. And if you wonder if your motherboard does support the Ryzen 5000 series, you can just type the name of your motherboard and type like Ryzen 9 5900X or benchmark, and you'll see the results. By the way, I have X570 Gaming Edge and I really regret buying it. This is the most product that I've ever regret buying it in my life, because the VRM is so terrible that it can't run the Ryzen 9 5900X, or it can run, but it's very terrible. Anyway, the second person, you have an Intel platform. The third person, you don't have a PC at all. Yeah, if you have an AM4 motherboard, but it does not support the Ryzen 5000 series, I recommend you to buy the 12th gen CPUs. It depends on your budget. So if you are on budget, I recommend you to go with i5 12th gen. It's really good CPU. If you want the best performance, you can go with the i9 12th gen. Also, all of them are really great in terms of value for the money, especially the i5 12th gen. If you have an AM4 system and it does support the Ryzen 5000 series, then I recommend you to just upgrade to like Ryzen 9 5900X or the Ryzen 7 5800X, although I don't really recommend you to get the Ryzen 5 5600X because it's, in my opinion, it's a terrible CPU for the money. Like especially now, the difference between the Ryzen 7 5800X and the 5600X is very little. It's about like $70, and the performance is much more. Maybe the Ryzen 7 5800X or the Ryzen 9 5600X 5900X. If you have an Intel system, of course, go with 12th gen CPUs. Again, if you are on budget, i5 12th gen is really great. Or if you have more money, you can go with the i9 12th gen. But be aware that you have a good CPU cooler and you have a good power supply. I recommend you to invest in a good cooler like the Nectua NH-U12S. It's a really good CPU cooler, and yeah, just like forget about it for the next 5 years or something. Also, if you wonder if your power supply is capable of running the 12th gen CPUs, just go to this website that I will link below and you can figure that out. Finally, if you don't have a PC at all, again go with 12th gen CPUs. Okay, now let's talk about why I chose Intel over AMD. First, because the 12th gen CPUs are really great value for money, and they are really powerful. Also, you might have a chance that next generation will be supported by your motherboard. But if you went with Intel, the AM4, the support of the next generation of Ryzen will not support the AM4 anyway. So we are 100% sure that the next generation will not support the AM4. And the 12th gen CPUs crush AMD's CPUs in all scenarios, especially in the productivity applications. And honestly, I was really surprised that Intel really improved in terms of productivity applications, and was a huge drawback to me, especially that I edit videos all the time, I game all the time. To have a CPU that does everything, it's really great. Yeah, 12th gen CPUs are much better. Anyway, I told you the drawbacks of 12th gen CPUs, so if it was a game breaker, then you can go with the Ryzen CPUs. Also, I'm not a fanboy of any brand. In fact, my system is, everything is AMD. I have the Ryzen 9. I have the Ryzen 5 3600 and the RX 580. Anyway, if you want to buy a 12th gen CPU right now, my email is below. Ask me anything for absolutely free. And yeah, hope you enjoyed, hope you benefit, and goodbye.